It's the E-Commerce Minute, your daily dose of e-commerce, tech, and retail news with your hosts, Bart Mroz and John Suder. The E-Commerce Minute is a production of Sumo Heavy, a digital commerce consulting firm in Brooklyn, New York, and Philadelphia. Find us on the web at sumoheavy.com. This episode of the E-Commerce Minute is brought to you by SendPro Online from Pitney Bowes. SendPro Online is software that makes it easy to save time and money, no matter what you ship or mail. Print shipping labels and stamps right from your desk and access discounted rates. E-Commerce Minute listeners can try it for free for 30 days and get a free 10-pound scale when you visit pb.com/minute. That's pb.com/minute. It's E-Commerce Minute episode 435.
In today's episode, Apple's It's Showtime event recap.
On March 25th, Apple held one of their special events. Most times, the pundits and Mac obsessed try and guess what the event will be, but this one, titled It's Showtime, had more leaks than a rusty bucket. The event this time was centered around content and payments. One we saw, the other not so much. None of the announcements were earth-shattering, but still newsworthy. So let's go through the keynote. Did you watch the whole thing, Bart, or did you kind of see the whole thing? Or
I saw most of it. Yeah, I got most of it.
did you see the opening credit animation?
I did not. I heard it was interesting.
It was a beautiful, stunning, retro-themed opening credit in the style of a movie, like something you'd see a 60s and 70s movie. A lot of typography, moving graphics, all in the color palette of the Apple logo. As Apple can be cool, but they can also be a little cheesy. They had, it was like credits for a movie, and it was like tongue-in-cheek references like the phone that changed phones forever. Siri was the production assistant, and music by 50 million songs in your pocket. That was a little corny, but the visuals were pretty neat. So was the music. You can probably find that on the YouTubes if you want. So then we have Tim Cook comes out, and he couldn't be more excited to show us what he's got in store. All right, I'll save my criticism.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No.
Do it. No, do it. Just do it.
Okay. I'll start out by saying I am a longtime Apple devotee. I've been using a Mac longer than most of you punks have been alive. But I think this whole style is getting a little long in the tooth. I know that Tim Cook couldn't be more excited. And each VP that comes out couldn't be more excited. They couldn't be more excited. How much more excited can we get? I don't know. It's just every time I hear that, I'm like, I don't know if they're just as cool as they used to be. I guess that's the one problem I'm having. But let's soldier on here. So the first announcement was, here's the other problem I have. They don't come up with any clever names. They have news. But the first announcement was, guess what it was? News Plus.
That's right.
Man.
Well, because the technically did not add the News Plus magazines.
Yeah, like what? News Plus. So, all right. So magazines are coming to Apple News. Clever name. Design-wise, Apple nailed it, though. The run-through they did, they have live covers. So you had a National Geographic, and you could see motion and movement. Typography is just fantastic. It's really true to the printed piece, which I think is important if you're going to be paying this money for something that's supposed to resemble a magazine. It really looks great. It's exactly what you would expect from Apple. The cool factor was definitely there for that. News Plus will recommend new magazines based on your interest, and everything will be curated by the Apple News team. So the big word lately is privacy. Apple had the word privacy punched through this keynote about 70 times. But, it's either when you say you have a curated experience, it's Apple is curating it for you instead of Facebook, which I don't know what's better, but I guess less fake news, but certainly not unbiased. The great thing is you can read full magazine issues. It's like swipey scrolly, like you can swipe to the next page. Gone are the days of that. Remember what was the apps that you could you'd flip the page and go, and you'd get the actual page turning.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember the waste of bandwidth that used to be just so we can replicate?
Yeah. Remember when people tried to require everybody to be like, oh, let's do this because it's funny.
Yeah. Or let's do this because that's the real experience that people want. Or no, you could just get an actual real magazine and do that. There's a funny video that goes around. There's a kid, he's reading something on the internet. He keeps licking his finger like he saw his parents do with an actual magazine, but he's licking his finger and swiping the iPad. So it's kind of where we're at in life. So thankfully, skeuomorphic design is dead and buried at Apple. The designs are nicely adapted to the larger size. And here's the coolest thing. You can download entire issues so you can read them on planes and stuff.
So I used to use an app called Texture.
I remember that.
Did you? Yeah, it's great. It's actually really cool, and it was a subscription based sort of. Here's all your magazines instead of subscribing to all these magazines all over the place. You have one.
Right.
So, it was really really good, and the reason Apple has it because they bought Texture.
Oh, okay. All right. But how much was the subscription with Texture?
It was $9.99. It was like $10 or something like that,
Oh,
along those
okay.
lines. Yeah.
Oh,
So it's basically the same thing.
was it the same? I don't know if you saw that part of the keynote. Was the design the same?
It was like Apple put their spin on it, but
Mhm.
it was pretty much the same. Like you just download the magazine, and it was mostly like just a full magazine. I think Apple is just putting their hands on top of it and their little twists. So it
Right.
will get better and better. The UI for Texture was kind of cool. It was fine. But I like the idea that it had all the magazines in one shot and it wasn't, you didn't have to go to a whole bunch of places. Because the thing with the other magazines like Ink and one of those, they actually have extra stuff or very branded things onto mobile. So I wonder how Apple's going to get around with it.
Yeah, that's a good point because I had digital subscription to Ink, Fast Company, and a couple others, and they had a lot of extra stuff that you wouldn't get with just your print magazine. So I wonder how it's going
Right.
to work. So News Plus will support premium digital subscriptions, including LA Times, The Skim, Wall Street Journal, blah, 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 blah. Again, privacy. Apple doesn't know what you read, doesn't let advertisers track you. What you read won't follow you across the internet. Hello, Facebook. For $10, you get 300 plus magazines, current and past issues, digital subscriptions, including People, Vogue, Wall Street Journal, Rolling Stone, and Wired. Family sharing, no extra charge, which is pretty cool. I think this is great for customers, even greater for publishers, because we all know that print media is in trouble, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Apple News Plus is available after you update to the latest iOS. That's it for Apple News Plus. Here's the big one. We're going to talk briefly about Apple Pay. Big stat from Tim Cook. He stood in front of a map and said Apple Pay is on track to surpass 10 billion transactions this year. The adoption rate in the US is 70%, which you think, wow, that's really high. But if you look at this map, Canada is 80, Australia is 99%. 99% adoption. I just don't understand what America's problem is because on this map, we're the lowest.
Do you know why?
Why is that?
Because if you look at Australia, also has the cars that have NFC built into them, so you just touch them. We're just starting to see those in US. Plus, if you look at it, the pin, like the idea that the chip and sign, like that makes no sense because most of the world is actually chip and pin, which is more secure.
Right.
The signature, why is that even a thing? Like that makes no sense how it's based on credit card companies really, and I think Apple is doing more and more. The other problem is I think that like companies try to do their own. Like Walmart doesn't take Apple Pay, neither does CVS because they want to do their own, and you're like, well, this is silly.
Yeah, we talked about that before. Everybody wants to have their own siloed payment systems, which totally drags down the innovation and anybody kind of breaking through. And you're right, it's the credit card companies that are doing all this. God, it's just a shame. It's just a shame that innovation gets crushed by greed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Apple Pay, the NFC like stuff like that. I love it. Like you just go and just pay and it's done.
Yeah,
Like you don't
just
have
show
to
your
touch it.
watch to the lady at Wawa, and she goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm paying for my coffee." Blink.
That's right. And speaking of that, it's coming to the subways too. Portland has it, Chicago has it, and finally New York City will have it at some point.
Hallelujah!
So nice.
And Philly will get it long
Never.
after I'm dead.
Actually, not true, because the current system uses a card that's NFC based.
The key. Have you tried
Yeah,
even
I
buying one
have
of
it.
those things?
I own one. It's great.
They didn't exactly roll it out smoothly.
No, it's actually I have it and it's great. Like it's in my wallet. I just press it and go. I don't have to swipe anything. It's just there.
But Bart, you were in New York when this was all being rolled out. You missed all the messy parts, and that's for a whole other show. Like you just waltzed back into Philly and it was all cleaned up. You didn't see the 4 years before that when it was a complete disaster. I just don't understand that. I just don't understand Philly sometimes. But anyway, the next big announcement was they basically started off like, how can we improve the credit card experience? My Tim Cook is off today. I'm going to have to save that for another day. But they basically said, how can we improve the credit card experience? This VP, her name was lost in my notes, but she came out and said, how can we improve the credit card experience? Late fees, annual fees, international fees, over limit fees. They basically said they're going to reinvent the credit card, and they introduced Apple Card. Now, when you say Apple Card, it's not, the first part of it isn't really a card. It's basically a digital card designed for the iPhone with simplicity, transparency, privacy, all those buzzwords. You basically sign up on the phone. You don't have to wait. You can use it where Apple Pay is accepted. It's available across all your devices. The card, in quotes, sits in your wallet. But the neat thing is they've really made the whole credit card thing more transparent in terms of it analyzes your spending. You can have flexibility on your due dates. And the neat thing, I don't know if you saw this, they had this one graphic. If you scroll down in our notes, there's it's almost like a fitness ring. And if your balance is, $1,000 and you think, well, I'm a little short this month, you can pay a little less.
Yep.
Or you can pay a little more, and it'll show you how much you're going to save in interest fees and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's good. And I'll point this towards younger consumers who really don't understand the murderous thing that is credit card debt.
Yeah.
It'll give them a better window into what they're actually spending. Cause I see people, they're just like, yeah, I'll just put it on my card. I'm like, yeah, that steak that you just bought, you're going to be paying for it for the next 15 years if you don't watch what you're doing.
So I think this is awesome. I've looked at the video. It's amazing.
This is really great. So again, there's a dashboard, but it's for finance. If you have a problem with your card, you simply text for help. So you can, flag a transaction or change your address. You do it all via text right to Apple. Coolest thing of all, and I know that people who have to do their taxes around credit card statements, no more cryptic merchant names. So Apple uses machine learning and Apple Maps to translate into names you'll recognize. So none of this number 7024 PHL. It basically matches it up with Apple Maps and says, you went to La Colombe Coffee. You spent $3.99. It also gives you weekly and monthly summaries, again, so you can check your spending. And here's the other cool thing. And I know that the points thing is big, like you can points or daily cash. And I know I use that one thing called Stash Invest. They give you stock back when you use their debit card. They got a thing, it's called daily cash. Yes, another clever name. So you buy a coffee, you get daily cash. Not a month from now, right now. The cash is added to your Apple Cash. This is where it gets confusing. Your daily cash is added to your Apple card in your wallet. It doesn't get sent to your bank account. It doesn't get sent anywhere else. But what's neat is you get 2% daily cash on each purchase, and you get that right away. No waiting a month, which is really cool. And if you purchase anything through Apple, you get 3% cash back. And the other great part is there's no caps on it. So if you're out spending like a crazy man, you can get unlimited daily cash. It's everyday cash for you. So I think that is pretty cool. So it didn't stop there.
It didn't stop there.
They didn't stop. They didn't stop there. They came and said, well, what happens if you go to a place that doesn't have Apple Pay? Well, they're going to do a physical card. They partnered with Goldman Sachs and MasterCard to create this actual card. Cue the fancy video of the lasers cutting and close-ups, and I was waiting for Johnny Ive to go, aluminum. It's made from the finest aluminum in the world. So you get the fancy thing, and what's it called? What is it called? Is this called?
Apple Card.
Apple Card. Another clever name. But it's funny. It's like one of the advertisements was like, we didn't need a bank to reinvent the credit card business, and then they partnered with Goldman Sachs. I don't know.
Right.
Again, this card is kind of unique because there's no account number on there. There's no signature. There's nothing except your name on there. So everything's identified obviously through the chip, which is pretty cool. You only get 1% cash back on the physical card, but it's titanium, man, because of course it is, and your name is etched on there. So with all this stuff, there are no details as to the interest rate. I don't think it's going to be cheap. I think it's going to be, I don't know, 14, 15% to start. What do you think?
Yeah. Nah, I think they'd be fine with it. I think they'd be low.
Well, it's
I
not going to
mean,
be
that's
9.
Apple.
They are not going to do 9. I mean,
No,
they'll have to be
no.
competitive.
It's gonna be competitive, but
But
everything is tied to them, so who knows?
yeah. But according to Apple, there's no late fees or increased interest rates for late payments. We'll have to read the fine print when this comes out.
Yeah, I
They said
want
it's
one
going to be.
now.
Yeah, no, it's I really like the one that sits in the wallet though. That is really cool. I may have to
Mhm.
rethink my whole credit situation here
But they're
because
also like, if you look at it, there's no CVV numbers. Like it's all secure.
mhm,
No card number, no CVV code, no expiration date, no signature. Like they're really doing this what a card's supposed to be.
yeah, no, and it's a beautiful looking card.
Hmm.
That's one thing I like about Apple. So it's a beautiful white card available in the summer. No word on any other information. You got to wait for the summer to hear about that. Next up was gaming. Gaming is the most popular category in the App Store. No surprise there. And the Apple App Store is the largest gaming platform in the world. There are 1 billion with a B, players on iOS playing over 300,000 games. That is a lot of games. So, what they've decided to do is make their own another subscription service called Apple Arcade. Apple Arcade is an ad-free, all-you-can-eat gaming service for games on iOS, macOS, and tvOS. Apple says it'll have 100 plus games at launch with titles from the likes of Disney, Konami, and Lego. Interesting enough, this comes on the heels of Google making their announcement for their gaming platform, Stadia. So everyone's going big on games. Just some of the bullet points here. With Apple Arcade, it'll give you more game discovery. Again, it's going to be curated. It's the world's first gaming subscription service, backing the development with developers. So they're really getting the developers involved. I don't know what the payment structure is because a lot of these games are free. I don't, and I
It's gonna
guess
be a monthly fee. They're just
yeah,
doing
because
that.
if they can't put ads on their games, I guess they're just going to just pick them a chunk,
Hmm.
a
Hmm.
portion. Well, that's good. I mean, hey, if it's steady revenue, who cares? And I think the customers win because you're not going to have it. You're not going to have games full of ads, and you don't have to worry about your kid buying stuff. I don't think there's no ads, there's no in-app purchase, so that's perfect for kids. No data collection, family sharing is available, cross-platform. So here's the neat thing: if you're playing, we'll just use Fortnite or whatever, or Beyond the Steel Sky, you're playing, you stop playing, and then you go into your office and pick it up on your laptop. It'll let you pick up right where you left off. You don't have to start a new game session, which is awesome for gamers. And you can play offline. That is really cool. So I'm assuming it'll just download. So if you're getting on a plane and you want to play a game, I guess it'll download whatever it needs to make the game work.
Hmm.
I guess you couldn't do multiplayer stuff on there, but I don't think a lot of this stuff's multiplayer anyway. I didn't really
It
look.
might be eventually. Like if you think about it, whatever they showed on screen, it might be multiplayer because then I guess offline you can't, but I mean, when you're online, you could be able to, right?
Right, but I'm saying is if you want to play a game, traditionally if you got on an airplane and then tried to play something from the game store, it wouldn't work because
Oh yeah,
it wanted to
right,
connect and serve you up those juicy ads.
right, absolutely.
So again, available this fall. You're going to have to wait till the fall to hear about that. No pricing, no pricing was given. All right, the last couple issues here we have TV. This is the one that everybody saw coming. Steve Jobs, before he died, said that he thought he would be able to crack the TV code and basically, and the rumors were he was going to design his own TV. And then it was like, well, no, he's not going to design a TV because we don't want to get in that kind of hardware. He's going to figure out how to serve up all these services. But I don't think at the time of his death, the services were quite as robust as they are now. The problem that everyone has with TV is you've got so much to choose from. Uh, and I think what is happening what I'm seeing is people are having app fatigue where it's like, I just want to sit down and watch TV, man. I don't want to have. So
Right.
Apple kind of heard that, and they're basically doing Apple TV channels, which you only pay for you only pay for what you want, but it's all in one app, which is great. I think, I mean, that does a lot of what Hulu does, but you can even bundle Hulu into this.
Right.
You can use this online or off. It's got family sharing. I think, where does this leave the actual Apple TV device, though, if they're doing this all via an app now, that's where I'm a little confused.
Well, not everybody has their own. It leaves them exactly where it's supposed to be. Like you plug it into your TV, right? Like most people don't. Like I was always against smart TVs, and we just when we moved, I when we moved, my movers broke my TV, so I put a new TV. But I bought a Roku TV that has all built in, and I'm glad I did because I love it. It's not like old school smart TVs, right? So Apple was going, okay, Roku's building it, Amazon is building them. Why not just us shove it in there? But a lot of people still don't have them, so they'll put the device in on the TV. Like a lot, like are, you and I will watch stuff on everything on the phone or on your iPad, but a lot of people will still watch it on TV.
I'm still a little confused. I'm talking about the actual Apple TV, the little box, the little
The little
dongle.
box, right? So people will plug it into their own TV.
But I'm saying you don't need this. You don't need to have this anymore. I can get this on. I can get Apple TV channels on my Fire Stick now.
Yeah, but because you have a Fire Stick, but other people will don't have it, right?
Right.
So it's still going to exist.
Right. I'm just wondering from a hardware standpoint, is that's something that's going to phase out, or they're just going to keep it around for that certain percentage of people?
I think they'll keep it up because it's a better experience too. I mean, the UI is a little better too.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like
That's true.
I in my opinion, like that's a better. But I've been using Roku forever. Like they're putting it on. That was my surprise thing when they're like, "Oh, we're also going to put it on Roku and Fire TV." I was like, "What?"
Yeah. That's what made me fall out of my chair. I was like, yes, Fire TV, because I want this experience, but I do not want to buy another device.
Yeah.
I'm just burnt out from all of that. I'll stick with my Fire. I'm all in with the Amazon ecosystem. So if I can get it on my Amazon devices, I'm a happy camper. So this will be available in May. You'll also be able to get the Apple TV app on your Mac, on your actual computer,
Computer.
in the fall, which is pretty cool. The Apple TV app will now be on smart TVs, as Bart said, Roku, Fire TV. Yeah, so starting this spring, you'll be able to get it on Roku, Amazon, Fire TV. Amazing. It's did it say pricing?
I don't think they have the pricing on it.
I don't think they have the pricing. Yeah, they don't have the pricing yet. I'm curious to see where it's going to fall. I don't think it's going to be $9.99.
No.
I don't think it's going to be $29.99. Where do you think it's going to fall?
Yeah. Well, I think they'll do that with, and then they'll do the premium subscription stuff, right? So they'll definitely have different versions of it. They kind of have to.
Like tiered. So you got a basic for $9.99, and then you build as
you get the $9.99 like a Netflix model, right? With their own shows because they have shows that they're gonna do original.
Yeah,
content.
we're going to talk about that next. Yeah, so you're right. So your basic. So what they'll do is, so what's Netflix up to? 13 or 14?
Whatever that is. Yeah.
So they'll do $9.99. I'll bet you roll out $9.99 or $11.99, something like that. So as Bart started to say, one of the hooks is going to be, and this is I think this is why it took so long to get this out of the gate. We all know that Apple is very, very late to the game with all this. Amazon's been building their own original programming for years. Netflix even longer than that. I think Apple finally took out their wallet and said, "Okay, put it on the table. Let's go build some content." And the last part of the keynote, they introduced Apple TV Plus, another super clever name. God, this part of the keynote just wore me out because it was all these stars, Jason Momoa, Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon. There were two Steve Carell and Steven Spielberg, J.J. Abrams, and some lady who sung a song. I think her name was Sarah Bareilles. I don't know. And Big Bird and Oprah was like the last, everybody's cheering for Oprah.
Yes, that was a lot of people out there.
Well, it was a lot of people, and it was like I'd already been watching this thing for an hour, and then it was another half hour of this, so I was kind of zoning in and out. But because I knew what the gist of it was.
Yep.
They're going to be doing their own original ad-free original programming, which will be part of your subscription. Again, no details as to what this will cost. There was only portions of trailers. There wasn't even any trailers. There was just a lot of people talking about it, all saying the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, this is huge. Apple TV Plus will be available in 100 countries starting in the fall, but Again, no price tag. We don't know. But you'll get that free if you sign up. Again, we haven't seen any of this content yet, so we don't know how good it's going to be. I mean, the one show has Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston and Steve Carell playing something about a morning news team. That might be funny, one would hope.
I think it's going to be of what's it called, a Ron Burgundy type of thing. Like, I think it's going to hit that way.
Oh, okay, that's good. No, I like that. And there's going to be original children's programming, something with Big Bird and this other helpster. Did you see that part?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, the character comes out. He goes, "I'm a helpster."
Okay,
helpster. Helpster is a pretty common name.
I'm
not a hipster. I'm a helpster. Okay, whatever.
Alrighty then.
So what else do we got?
That was it, right? Like,
yeah, that was it.
I mean, Apple's becoming. Well, the biggest thing I think for all of it, if you watch the whole thing, was privacy.
Oh,
privacy,
yeah.
and more privacy, and privacy on top of privacy.
Yeah, that was a stick. That was a stick in the eye to Facebook. That's for sure.
I mean, they were like every slide, evereverything they did was
every
like
slide
privacy,
curated privacy. So,
which is good, which is great. I think that's a big one. I mean, if they're pulling it off and what they're doing is amazing.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Twitter, of course, was dragging Apple, saying, "Well, you're being too lazy and hazy on pricing and launch dates and blah blah blah." So the stock fell 1.2%. I haven't checked it. I'm sure it came back.
You know, it's funny. It does that every time.
It does it every time because I've owned Apple stock for a long time, and it's like, oh, here's the announcement. Here's my stock.
It's perfect time to buy too.
It's perfect time to buy. Yeah, if you buy right after the keynote, you're a smart man. And I think Netflix went up like $2.50 or $2 or something like that, whatever it was. It wasn't huge, but
it's just going to be a battle between them. Like, if you really think about it, sure, Apple is was a hardware company, a software company, but they're also a huge media company. I mean, they started with music, obviously, right? And then they just went at it. I mean, photos, music, video. I mean, they're just going to keep on going at it, and they have the money for it. So,
sure. That's the shocking thing was how long it took.
Well, it always takes Apple longer, but they do it. When they do it right? Like, it's the funny thing how people jump on their case about a lot of different things, right? Even like look at the phones, right? They're like, "Oh, you don't have this." They're like, we can wait for a moment. We'll make this right.
Yeah, and the rumors, going back 2 years, Apple's working on a car. No, they're not working on a car. Yes, they're working on a car. They bought a LiDAR company. Nope, they're just doing the tech for the car, and now we still have nothing.
Right.
And they're so secretive about that stuff, which I guess you have to be in that business.
Yep.
All right. I think we went through the whole thing. That is the Apple It's Showtime event recap. There's videos on YouTube that you can look to watch the keynote. I would probably watch up until the TV Plus part and then shut it off because that was boring.
All right.
Anything else?
We have sponsors, my friend.
Well, I'm going to take a moment and tell you about it. How's that? Are you paying too much to send out packages and letters? Wouldn't it be nice to have a solution that can give you the lowest rates? With SendPro Online, it's easy to save time and money no matter what you send, from packages to overnights to letters. And here's the F's and B's. That's features and benefits, ladies and gentlemen. You can easily compare USPS, UPS, and FedEx rates all in one easy-peasy online tool, no software. Also gain access to special USPS savings for letters and priority mail shipping. Print shipping labels and stamps from your own printer. Track all of your shipments and get email notifications when they've arrived. SendPro Online is very affordable. It's only $14.99 a month. And for being a loyal e-commerce minute listener, you can get a free 30-day trial and get started, plus a free 10-pound scale to help you accurately weigh your packages. Visit pb.com/minute to access this special offer. That's pb.com/minute. Experience the better way to ship with a free trial of SendPro Online. Bart, any closing thoughts on this extra large episode?
Yeah.
See you in the fall when all the stuff comes out.
Right, see you fall. Let's see where this happens.
When does the card come out? That's the one I'm really focused on. Summer. All right. So we'll do a follow-up in there on the card in the summer. I think that's one thing that Apple does right when they integrate their tech into that kind of stuff. I would tell anybody who's interested in this to go find some screenshots from the keynote. They've really made more of an intuitive look into your finances. And again, I don't think people really think about how much they spend on credit, and this to make it more transparent like this is a commendable step by Apple. And it also looks good too. Got anything else?
Cool. No, that's it,
my friend. Is that it? We done? We tired? Time to go? All right, folks. That's your e-commerce minute for today. Well, see you on the internet tomorrow. That's it for today's show. If you like the show, do us a favor and subscribe or leave us a review on iTunes. And don't forget, you can now listen to the e-commerce minute on your Amazon device. Just add e-commerce minute to your flash briefing. And finally, if you have a comment or suggestion or just want to say hi, find us on social media @SumoHeavy.